All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It is your host, Brian, and today we're going to be talking about an X-Wing 2.0 list that I flew at the last fall championship here in Boise, Idaho, that I took to first place. I know, right? I did something right for once. So, what I'm going to do, I would love to get some of your guys' feedback as we kind of expand and grow this channel. I would love to be putting more content out at a regular basis, but I've kind of hit some sort of creator's block in terms of I have a hard time deciding the best way to present an idea or a list or a build that I'm working on to you guys so that it's aesthetically pleasing. It also conveys a good message and comes across well without taking an absurd amount of time. So today we're going to be trying a new method. If any of you guys have watched any of my magic videos, if you've gone in the past, a lot of times what I do was I'd be behind the camera filming top down on the cards and kind of explaining what they were from there. It worked well for Magic because we're showing the cards and I think people like seeing the cards. And I've tried that for X-Wing. I don't know how much you guys care about seeing models and cards as well as just popping something up in the side view of what we're talking about. So I'd like to get your guys' opinion. Today we're going to be taking it. I have the ship stuff actually right below me that I'm going to use to reference, but I'm not going to be showing it to you guys. So if I'm looking down, that's why, because I'm looking at the cards. I'll try to put whatever I'm referencing over here though. So now that we've done a little bit of housekeeping, let's get going to the actual list that we're talking about. So to give you guys a little history, when I came into X-Wing, I used to play Imperials all the time. That's actually what got me into X-Wing, was the chance to fly Imperial ships. I just have always loved the Imperial Navy. But pretty quickly into playing X-Wing 1.0, I found myself almost entirely playing Rebels. So the first list I ever built, though, was a TIE Phantom and TIE Striker list. So when we came into 2.0, I was trying to build a list, found myself going right back to Rebels and building more Rebel stuff, and I said, wait, you know what, hold on. Let's find an Imperial list that we can build on and try some new stuff. So I built a Whisper list, kind of went through some different variations of that. Started with 2 TIE fighters and, I can't remember the name of that ship. I want to say a striker, but I don't know if it's not a striker. The Reaper, that's it. So I had a Phantom, 2 TIE fighters, and a Reaper, trying that out. And it wasn't as good as I'd hoped, but the Whisper Phantom showed some promise. So I eventually decided, you know what, let's add 2 Phantoms. So I added Echo and Whisper to the same list. And I was trying to play around with that third ship. I originally was trying Palpatine of some sort, or maybe do like a support ship. And I found that I am not a good shuttle pilot. Flat simple. So what we've come down to here are the final 3 ships that I decided on. Now, I have changed the variation of pilots here, and you can do it too. If you're like, you know what, I don't want to play with that ship or that pilot, you're more than welcome to. Now, I'll talk about some of the changes that I've made after the tournament, but we'll talk about right now what I used to go 4-0 at the Fall Championship. So the first ship I'd like to talk about, of course, let's go with the hallmark of the what started it was Whisper. So Whisper is initiative 5. She rolls 3 attack dice, 2 evade. They gave her a buff on the hull. They used to have 2 hull, now they have 3. And their action bar is not as bad as some other ships. I wish it had some linked actions or a target lock natively, but they don't. So pretty much you have cloak, evade, barrel roll, and focus. What I end up using mostly with these ships is either the cloak, the barrel rolled, or the focus. Sometimes I'll take evade if you want to guarantee that you want to shoot and still cloak at the end of the combat. Now Whisper's lucky because if she deals combat damage, she gets a free evade, so that she can't take advantage of that cloaking. So you could focus with her, push damage through with the focus, and then after she's dealt damage, she gets a free evade. So with Whisper, I have on her Collision Detector and Juke. Now I played with having crew on her. I started off with Director Krennic, and Director Krennic was awful. I found the target lock was very lacking. With when I had Krennic, I had fire control system, and it just was adding a lot of points onto the ship and not getting enough value out of it. We had a another tournament for 2.0 launch that I ran, basically this same list, but I had Inquisitor in there instead of someone else, and I found that Krennic was just not doing enough for his cost. So I decided let's go to Collision Detector because it's really good on Phantoms. The fact that you can barrel roll using the 2-barrel roll is the one that I use for Whisper onto debris and use the Collision Detector's charges to avoid getting any kind of repercussion from that is very powerful. So as I said, I combined it with a second Whisper or a second Phantom. So that Phantom is Echo. Echo obviously is identical, so I'm not going to go over its stats with you as the Whisper. The difference is though it uses the 2 bank. I'll show you guys that. The 2 bank for its decloak. Now that is super powerful. Being able to reposition at the start of the system phase really throws people off because they're really sure not where you're going to go. And that's the advantage of this list. Being able to take advantage of reposition aspects to keep your opponent really guessing on the options of where you're going to decloak. And on Whisper or on Echo, I run the exact same thing, Juke and Collision Detector. So Whisper and Juke are identical in terms of their builds. Again, Collision Detector, let me rewind. The reason I put the Collision Detector on there was the first tournament I ran where I had Inquisitor on there. I found it was very predictable where I'd decloak because sometimes there would be debris blocking a section where I would want to go or potentially could go. And I thought to myself, man, if there was a way for me to really make it so my opponent has no idea where I'm going to go, that would be super powerful. And I found that that's what Collision Detector does. It enables you to really decloak in any direction. Now, I would strongly suggest if you're playing with Collision Detector, you don't use it as a, oops, I screwed up, I'm going to use it option. Like if you're doing your actual maneuvers, use it as a strategic option to decloak in ways that your opponent won't expect. So with that, we have the final ship. We have the Darth Vader in the TIE Advanced X1. So I haven't seen really anyone playing with Darth Vader. And I was like, you know what? I need an ace to kind of back up these other aces. I don't want to go support ships. We're going to go full on ace. So Darth Vader, I felt like, you know, he's the creme of the creme, right? 3 force powers, coming in initiative 6. So he's going to be usually moving first or last. Well, depending on, he's usually moving last if I possibly can help it. And with him, I have fire control system. That's because you're almost always going to be taking a target lock. You won't be taking focuses as much as you would like to unless you're spending a lot of force powers for doing multiple things. So I thought fire control system was kind of like a predator-like aspect where we can get a free reroll and maybe get some more damage. And then I have sense. Sense is an interesting pick. A lot of people ask me why I didn't put supernatural reflexes or something so that I can really abuse some maneuvering options. For example, doing a barrel roll and then stressing myself out or something. I don't know. I didn't find supernatural reflexes worked as well on Vader as I've seen on, say, Luke or the Inquisitor, which is what I did have it on originally. And I found that force power is very valuable, and it becomes super easy to just burn through your force so fast now that and then you're lacking. You're like, either I can't use force. I have to like manually tell myself, don't use force, or you're going to be drained out of it the whole game. Sense gives us an option to utilize force if we need to, but it's also free if you're within range 0 to 1. That is super powerful, to being in range 0 to 1, to look at someone's dial for free. But the real reason I like this is it plays so well with the decloak option. We can use sense to say, okay, let's see where this guy is going to go. We'll flip over his dial. You get a great sense of where his final movement. You can be like, okay, he's going to end up right here. Based on barrel rolls and boosts, this is the options. Okay, with that, I'm going to decloak over here, knowing what my movement's going to be. I'm going to have a perfect shot with him, or I'm going to be out of his range if he's going to shoot at me. So sense is the biggest tool with this list. I feel like it really, really matches well with it. Being able to track your opponents and keep them locked down. I love that it has the ability to be a free option so that when you're really dogfighting and everyone's kind of knitting close, it's free to use. And it also plays mind games with your opponents. Being able to like, I'll check out your T65 style, flipping it over. It really starts pissing your opponent off because they're like, man, I feel like I have zero control in this game. So I found that that was a great satisfactory use for this list. The list actually comes with a bid. I wish, let me find out. Let me pull up my list right now. I was going to say, I feel like off the top of my head it's 199, but I don't want to lie to you and tell you it's not. So let me just pull up the list on my phone. Yep, so it comes in at 199. So you'd have a little bit of a bid. If I have the option, I'm almost always wanting to... Okay, so here's one thing. I was going to say I almost always want to move last because you want to have reposition aspects. But if you end up getting initiative, if your opponent beats you in the bid and says you can have initiative, it's actually not that bad because Echo really does want to shoot first in the option because she wants to get that second decloak or that second evade token in case you need to use it on the defensive. So it's actually not that bad either way. But you almost always want to be able to move second. And also in the system phase, if they're playing Phantoms, I'd always want to decloak second because you want to know where they're decloaking first. So there we go. So that's the list. So what changes would I make? There's actually a lot of options that you can do. What I'm playing with right now, and I'm not going to put these up on the side because this is more theoretical discussion. And really you guys can play with these ships, but keeping the same 3 ships, so the TIE Advanced and the Phantoms, I've been playing with replacing Darth Vader with Merrick Steele. He's an Initiative 5 pilot, and his ability is really good. If you deal a crit damage, instead of just flipping a crit over, you draw 3 cards and we pick one. That is very, very powerful. The crits in this game are a lot more punishing, I think, than 1.0's crits. So you can be able to choose which one you want to expose, be it a direct damage, a fuel leak. Let's say you hit with 2 crits. I believe they trigger individually, so you can look at the first one. Oh, there's a fuel leak, so I know I'm going to hit another crit here, so we'll take the fuel leak. There's another crit, so it's going to double tap. It's very, very powerful. So I definitely have enjoyed Merrick Steele. On him, I run outmaneuver and fire control. Obviously, you have no force powers on him, so I use the outmaneuver. Outmaneuver is great. To be honest, the reason I wanted to play outmaneuver was I was getting fought by a lot of wedges, and that -1 to the roll on defense dice is so powerful. Being able to control that with your own guys, if you're able to fly well, is also great. And then on Whisper and Echo, everything's identical, but because we're able to reduce our costs on Vader, we're actually able to add some crew here. So I added Darth Vader crew, and you could either put them on Echo or Whisper. The crew can go on either one, but I have Darth Vader crew on one of them, and then I was putting Agent Callus on the other one. So if you have Darth Vader crew on Echo, obviously Agent Callus will be on Whisper, and vice versa. It's really on which ship you think is more valuable to use that crew with. Like I said, it doesn't matter which one, but make sure that if you're going to fly, you keep it the same. You don't change it between matches, okay? That's one thing. So anyways, guys, this is my list. How did you like this format? Was this a good format? Would you like to see it some more? Let me know in the comment section down below. Otherwise, guys, I appreciate coming down and checking out my list. Have a great day.